Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you've seen my Meet My Reptiles video, if you have not, make sure you check it out for individual introductions to all my animals. And without further ado, I'm Beth and this is BMC Reptile Room. So before we jump right into the video, I just want to give you guys some content plans for my channel for the next 6 months. I have 4 major projects that I really want to get underway. 2 are bioactive enclosures. I want to do a bioactive enclosure for my crested gecko, as well as a bioactive enclosure for my Indonesian blue-tongued skink. Right now they are on bioactive substrate, but I want to add drainage layer and a drain system. In those videos, I'm going to be showing you guys how to create a drainage system without drilling into your tanks. I actually have this in my pac-man frog tank right now and it works really well. So just an idea if you guys don't want to go to the full extent of drilling into all your tanks. So the third thing that I want to do is build a DUI racking system so I can get both my bearded dragons into my room. When I'm done doing my rack system, which I'm obviously going to make a video on so that you guys can learn as I'm learning how to do it, and after I get my rack into my room, I'm actually going to be upgrading Spike's tank to the same size as Gizmo's, just because I think that she needs more space as well. And those are my 4 major plans for now. Obviously there's going to be other content throughout those videos, and without further ado, and without me blah blah blahing way too much, let's get to the video. I'm not going to be going into much care for every animal in today's video. I'm just going to be giving you a quick overview of all the equipment and stuff I use on every cage to maintain each environment for all my animals. So starting off in the very left-hand corner of my room, we have Gizmo, my bearded dragon's tank. She's housed in a 48 by 20 by 18 front opening tank. On the top of her tank, I have 2 150 watt basking bulbs. This maintains her basking temperature at approximately 120 and creates a mid-gradient of 90 to 85 and a cold side of 75 to 70. I also have a 12% Arcadia 10.0 T5 UVB bulb mounted on the top of her tank. As substrate, I have topsoil with isopods and springtails. Please note this isn't the only way to keep dragons, this is just the choice I opted towards based on the personal research I have done. In the back right side of her tank, I just have a water bowl that I'm not even sure she actually uses, but if she ever does get thirsty, it's in there at least. And that's all that you really need to know about the setup of Gizmo. Obviously I'm going to make different videos on bearded dragons, how to care for them, what kind of diet they take in, etc, etc, but for now I'm just going to keep it at tanks. Then moving to the right of Gizmo's tank, I have Freddy, my pac-man frog tank. He's housed in an 18 by 18 front opening tank. On the top of his tank I have a 40 watt ceramic heat emitter, and also below his tank I have a heat mat. This maintains temperatures in his tank between 82 and 74 degrees Fahrenheit. I only feel comfortable using heat mat in this scenario because there's so many layers of substrate between the mat and any contact with Freddy. Even if he is to burrow down to the drainage layer, there's enough hydro balls that there is no risk of him burning his belly. I also have an automatic misting system that goes off every hour for 15 seconds. This just maintains humidity while I'm outside the house, so I don't have to worry about it. I have Freddy on topsoil and cocoa husk, again with isopods and springtails, because that's just how I keep my animals. Then moving to the right of Freddy, we have Natiri, my Indonesian blue-tongued skink enclosure. I took his hideout for the video just so you guys could get a visual on him. He's housed in a 54 by 24 by 20 front opening tank. On the top of his tank I have a 70 watt Philips halogen floodlight, equivalent to 100 to 110 watts of a normal light. I'll actually be switching out all my reptile lights to halogen floodlights as their lights burn out, but for now all the temps are good and the lights I'm using are still good, so I'm not going to spend money where it doesn't need to be spent. The 70 watt halogen floodlight actually maintains his basking spot at 100 to 105 degrees Fahrenheit, mid-gradient of 80 Fahrenheit and cool side of 70. Also on the top of his tank, I have a 5.0 T5 UVB bulb made by Zoomed. Because Natiri is an Indonesian blue-tongued skink, this means he requires a lot more humidity than their subspecies northern blue-tongued skink, which are more commonly in captive pets. Indonesian blue-tongued skinks require a minimum humidity of 60% and maximum of almost 90 to sometimes 100 in natural locales. Because of this, I keep a Reptifogger on 24/7, raising it in the morning and turning it down at night to maintain humidity levels for Natiri's health. And then moving to the right of Natiri is my 180-gallon aquarium with a 70-gallon sump. In here, I house my 9 goldfish, but at this moment I only have 7 in there, as you'll see later on in the video. In the refugium, I keep Java moss, Java fern, and Anubias. I maintain the temperature of my goldfish tank at 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Goldfish are actually very hardy and very adaptable fish in comparison to many other fish in the hobby. So my only advice to you if you're keeping goldfish is you pick a temperature and you make sure it's stable, because consistency is key to any water system. And then moving on to the top of my fish tank, I have Dobby, my crested gecko tank. She's housed in a 12 by 12 by 18 front opening tank. On the top of her tank, I have a 40-watt ceramic heat emitter. She is also kept on topsoil with isopods and springtails. Like mentioned earlier, her tank is in a serious need of an upgrade and revamping. So don't mind how unfinished it looks, because I've always found it to look unfinished and I've never been completely satisfied with the setup. But it is what it is for now. I didn't want to go into major extents of upgrading the insides of her tank until I upgrade the complete tank itself. Then in a completely different room is my other bearded dragon, which also mentioned earlier will be eventually getting moved into my room. Spike is housed in a 36 by 18 by 18 front opening tank. As you all will note at this point, she is in a smaller enclosure than Gizmo, which I also mentioned I will be upgrading. On the top of her tank, instead of 2 150-watt basking bulbs, because of the size difference in the tank, I only have one 150-watt and the other one is 100. This maintains her temperature at 120, mid-gradient 85, and cold side 72. And I also have a 12% Arcadia 10.0 T5 UVB bulb on the top of her tank. And just like all my other reptiles, no different, she's housed on topsoil with isopods and springtails, and is also provided with a water bowl. But here is the kicker. Unlike Gizmo, I've actually seen Spike drink from her water bowl, so yes, spirited dragons do drink from their water bowl on their own accord. And last but not least, I just want to give you guys an update on Teva. Since my last video, I moved her to a 10-gallon isolation tank with a sponge filter, and I've been completing 2 water changes daily, which has been a pain, but it's worth it, because she's swimming, and fish are supposed to swim. At the time of this clip, she's on day 7 out of 7 of her fast. Tomorrow we start on 2 to 4 days peas only, and from there I'll be slowly reintroducing regular feeding and monitoring her symptoms very closely. Before I even consider reintroducing her into my main tank, I do want to ensure her condition is very stable and the other fish aren't going to cause stress to her. As a side educational note, swim bladder issues are unfortunately very prominent in fancy goldfish, and it's not uncommon seeing these things while keeping them. Obviously, more updates on Teva will be coming with more videos, and I will be tracking her progress and showing you guys that sometimes goldfish can recover from swim bladder, even though a lot of people don't seem to think that. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys want to see any more of this cute face or any more in this room, please like and subscribe. In the next video, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to be doing, so if you guys have any ideas, please let me know.